We're rich. We'll have enough for a submission here in about 10 minutes. There's 5. See, I can still count. Hell, I might have enough for a hot dog when I get through. Oh my hell, we got her in here. Big money, big money. My Hawaiian bank account that I've been saving for about 2 months, all my change for just a rare occasion like this. So, that's what I'm doing, is getting the money out so we can get the tape sent Federal Express by tomorrow. It's got to be in at 5 o'clock tomorrow night in California. So we're getting the money to get her there on an overnight. I've been up about 28 hours now, and it looks like it'll be after tonight before I'll get much sleep. We'll get our goals done. Get the things we gotta do done, do it, and then we can sleep later. And always sleep later. If you had to work for somebody else, you'd be dead about now. So that's just part of the secret, I think, is doing the things that you like, and then you'll have the energy and the desire to do them. And that's what we're doing. And we're going to make it work, one way or the other. We got it, we put it out, and now we'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll like the story good enough they'll watch it. And if it don't work, we clean it up, we send it off to Toronto.
Exactly.
Clean it up, send it off again. 19.
16. 21.
We had the exact change, imagine that. Exactly the right change. One of these days we're going to eat sandwiches on a plane just like one like that.
In a cargo plane?
In a cargo plane. We're going to be eating sandwiches in a big airplane, buddy, one of these days. You know what I really like about it is when it's cold, your balls shrivel up and you can't even find them. If that's the way you do it, you just put the soap on. Oh, that warm water feels good.
Swing. Everybody talk! Talk! Action! No, wait, pick it up in an ordered way.
Hold on, boys.
He needs to know that Billy's dying.
Dying? This is the house. Today's the last day. We'll close on the house this afternoon. Down the tube. It was an option that I considered very early, so in doing so, I'd already made the choice that the film was more important than the house. There isn't no hurt in actually losing the home. The biggest part of the hurt is the way Grantsville City and the county has tried to run you out of your own home. That's the part that hurts the most. Twilla Health Department basically threw me out of my house because I couldn't afford to pay the water bill. In there in the toilet, you would go to the bathroom for a day or two and stir it up and flush it with your own urine. I got a good taste of what it feels like to be disabled and have everybody in the county against you.
The house that Kimball owned was moved onto site, and he was doing on-site renovations. Basically, to my knowledge, put his whole life on hold to make his movie. And thus the yard was neglected, and he had a lot of building material stacked right up against the home, and a lot of weeds that were in such state that they did potentially pose a fire hazard. As you probably know, city government is reactionary, and there were citizens complaining about the unsightliness of the property. At one point in time, he was unable to pay his water bill, and it went unpaid, so the water was turned off by city policy. State and federal code require you have to have a well or a city culinary source, and not having either of those, the County Board of Health was involved. And so they declared the house uninhabitable.
Tomorrow, that
To live together in a society, you have to live by some mandated rules. First thing you learn in kindergarten is to play together in the sandbox. And you have to accept and live by certain standards and rules if you're going to live together as a people.
This is Bill's sale. What it's saying that is that you're leaving all the building materials, including bricks, for the new buyers.
I need this.
Yeah, their Social Security, Can they go ahead and sign and date that? On the directions for funding, you know, you're going to be getting the $2,300. Do you want to come pick that up? Did you want to have that mailed to you?
I could probably pick it up.
Okay, so I just need you to go ahead and sign.
He mortgaged his house to help produce the movie, and he was just about to get it foreclosed on, and he had somebody that was willing to buy it, but the way the house was, the bank didn't want to loan money on it, and we'd had our house paid down pretty good, and we had a home equity line of credit, and so I bought the home from Kimball and turned around and sold it to the guy that was interested in buying it. We're doing okay. The guy's making us payments, and we're making a little money on the side, but it's not much. But I just, I don't know.
I believe you. I believe you're going to be rich and famous.
Brother Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, get them two guys in there.
Right there.
Yeah.
There's several people that know I'm down by my brother's place, but they don't know exactly what's going on. I try to keep it as quiet as I can. Living down here, if they found out, the health department would be down here and they would throw me off the property. When I was a kid, I always liked to camp, and I always liked to stay out in the open. And I kind of missed it in the last few years, I really haven't been out camping much. Last week I sat here at the campfire and I was able to look up at the stars. They're very clear here, and kick back and watch the things that I've known when I was a kid. The Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, the North Star. This morning I got up and it was a little of the water pails around here had about an inch of ice in them. A little chilly. My propane shut off last night in the middle of the night in the trailer, but there is inconveniences.
Sometimes your hot dogs are black, sometimes they'll have ashes in them, whatever, you know. It's all a part of the good and part of the bad. See how good and black them hot dogs are? That's outdoor hot dog. One of the things my daughter told me, she says, "Dad, what if you lose it all?" And I told her not to worry about it. If I did lose it all, I'd lose it all going after a dream. It's my time. My kids, I got them up, got them raised. Then it's Dad's turn to go after the dream.
Anybody mentions my dad and they all kind of, they laugh. They're like, "Oh, Kimball, you know, oh, Kimball." But, you know, they always do say he's a good guy. They just, you know, they think he's crazy for putting up his house and putting everything into making a movie, you know, so he could have the money to do a movie.
This is Trevor. Trevor is the little picture of the boy that's Billy West in the movie The Rocketeer. My grandson. Huh?
Is this fire?
Don't put the battery on.
As far as giving up everything I had or cashing in everything I had to make a movie, to me that's a little drastic.
Funny kid, huh?
He's, you know, stretching for pennies. I remember him coming over one day, and for hell's sakes, it was during the summer. He come over and he was eating weeds. God, that just, I don't know, to see your own father eating weeds because he has no food, and that's when I started to break down. That's when I told him, "Come over and eat. You come over to my house and eat. You know, you need to eat. You eat. Don't be picking weeds."
This here's what the local people call pigweed. If you look around here, some of the plants, that's what it is. The little green seeds that's in it, when they dry out, you can use to make almost like a fine buckwheat pancake mix. Mix them in your flour. Lately I've been learning and trying a lot more wild foods. I hope the food stamp people don't see this, or they'll probably do it with everybody's food stamps and make them eat this stuff. A little bit of garlic here. We'll garlic it up. A nice old scoop of butter.
You got a pocket full of money in your hand. You got my loving is true. You got a pocket full of money in your hand. I got my brand on you too. So put your arms around me, you wayward cowboy. I'll be your cooing turtle dove. Put your arms around me, you wayward cowboy. Carry me away on your saddle of love. Kimball had an inspiration driving a little road down the highway and thought about it.
Yeah, on the bus I wrote a rough cut and took it down to Cody, and we worked on it today, and that's the song we come up with. So good friendships last a lifetime. We'd both probably help each other out anything we needed. What we gotta have,
it would only,
go there.
if I knew you needed help, it wouldn't take, you know, a heartbeat and a whisper, a scream and a yell for me to come to your rescue. Just hey, and take it to the limit one more time. Don't ever stop seeking that goal, Kimball. Take it to the limit, buddy.
Take it to the limit. There's one thing nice. I like to surround myself with positive people that have as much artistic ability as they have, and it makes it really nice, just like an evening.
You know, I wished I had more of that kind of a devotion to my own talent and dream, and wished I had more get up and drive to pursue it. I don't know, I've got a fear of falling on my face, and now that you're in that pair of shoes, how are you going to fill that pair of shoes? How are you going to, produce what you say you can do? How are you going to be what you wanted to be, or what you was professed to be? Kimball's, no, I'm shadowed by my own fears, and he's brushing that fear away and letting that light shine on him better. And I don't know, he'll get that recognition. He'll be all aglow pretty soon. If I whisper I miss you, will you hear? If I wonder, are you watching down from heaven? Would you show me a sign so that I'll know you're near?
You people are going to be the first audience that is going to give comment back on the film, so I expect you to be totally, brutally honest. I need to know where there's problems, because this is not going to be my first film.
All right. This is the I like the movie one. 4, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, but has potential. If you could use one word to describe this movie, it would be good, okay, confused, more work needed, unenticing, touching, unfinished, long, choppy, heartfelt. So it's quite a spectrum.
It's a spread.
It is a spread of things, yeah. This is, would you buy the movie? Would you give it as a gift? No and yes. No and no. Yes and yes. No and yes. Yes and yes. No and no, sorry. Let's see some other things on here. Is great story, but poor quality of film. And somebody said it's like the Buttercream Gang, I guess, meets the Billionaires Boys Club.
And another thing that's important, the people here that watched it, almost everyone said they had somebody they'd give it to as a gift that's younger. That's a very important statistic.
He came into my acting program somewhere around 1997, and I had an acting studio called Studio 9 Actors Workshop downtown. Kimball came in as part of a class, and it wasn't really until he began to bring scripts into class that I tuned into what he was really about, where he was headed.
I don't want you to feel too...
He had this script called The Racketeers, and I believe that he'd already sent it off to somebody in Hollywood. If I'm not mistaken, it might even have been at MGM. But somebody had read it. The way the Racketeers are making their money and the way it led to this story of saving a person's life, I thought had great potential. But I would never have done it the way he did it, because I think he spent too much money up front. He wanted to shoot widescreen. He's thinking about putting it in a theater. His ambitions to create a film of that magnitude, I think, were a little high.
Wanting to do soundtracks for movies my whole life.
When you play it, remember the last time you won a big reward? Ever remember winning any big rewards? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the feeling we get into it. Money! Fame!
I don't think it was as fun for me as it was for Kimball.
Give me a big smile, Kimball.
I don't know what makes Kimball tick when it comes to making this film his opus.
To make a last-minute
I don't understand what it is about this film that he feels he has to hang on to so tightly to define who he is as a person. It was almost like his gift to some part of himself that he had not taken care of or destroyed when he was younger.
Well, The Racketeers was basically, it's a story about love, that everybody realizes that money isn't all it's cracked up to be. There's also other good morals in there where the boys are helping each other with homework, helping the less fortunate. When I was younger, I ran around with friends that a lot of people chastised. I had one friend that I had people actually tell me not to run around with that person because they can't read or write. And a lot of the things in The Racketeers is themes like that. I think The Racketeers shows a lot of probably my feelings on the way the world is. We value material goods more than we do life. I think that's pretty sad.
He's always been a happy person, though. He's always been a happy-go-lucky type of person. Very seldom seen him down. I've only seen him down maybe when he was going through divorce, but that's about it. And when Dad died, I think, and when our parents died.
He's had a hard life growing up, with his parents dying real young. That hurts. I've had my parents, they're gone. He was still in high school when they died. And he had to basically take care of the ranch and help raise his brothers. And then going through the divorce, that really messed him up. There are things that'll happen that are unexpected, and he's dealt with them. He's had some real hard mental issues to deal with. That would be hard on anybody, especially at the age he was.
Divorce for me was more painful than losing my mother and dad. People get together, they plan on staying together, they plan on raising the perfect family, the perfect kids, and then all of a sudden that dream, when you split up, is shattered. And it's very painful for everybody involved, regardless of who or what caused the divorce. See that? They're iced over. So I can make the assumption that in the wintertime, the plant fills up with water. It's just ice. Perfect water right out of the plant, see it? But that's something I just learned just now that I didn't know before. So there's a lot of things out in nature a person can learn about. Most things, once they figure out you're not there to hurt it, it's amazing what animals, fish, what things will do. We get too caught up in going after the things that we think we want. And we're going after them so hard we don't take the time to look and see the beauties of life. I know the things that's made me wake up, it's not having those luxuries. But by that, you learn to appreciate little things. I honestly think everybody ought to be allowed to go broke at times. I can't go through 2 hours without finding something that's very special to me. The smell of the pines, the smell of the sage, the taste of the wild grapes that you find in the fall. Things that are free, things that most people take for granted. person always wants to get their film accepted into a larger festival, but if you look at a lot of the films, there's a lot of films being shown that didn't make Sundance. In a way, it discourages you. Quite frankly, I'm glad they didn't accept it because we really weren't ready to show it. Look out, Sundance 2003. I'd better brush my one tooth. Can't have bad breath at Sundance. Where's my fox coat? I got a brown leather coat, so I'll have to go in brown leather. Kind of be out of style a little bit, but what the hey? The clothes are clean and the shorts are washed. That should be good enough. So I found through the last quite a few years that if you're actually up there spending a lot of money, you're not hitting the real festival.
Every single day there's 20% of a to-do list that doesn't happen.
You learn a lot in the panel discussions. You meet very interesting people, and the more you can get around people in the industry, I think the better off you are.
If I can make 3 films with somebody,
You get to realize you're not alone in making your movies.
You have a movie, a distributor loves it, they want to release it, but they want to
It's a really a tough business, and everybody up there is in the rat race. I think sometimes looking at big pictures discourages you. There's a lot of wannabes at Sundance. And you find out that there's a lot of people inside that little plastic bubble that believe that they can get in on a prayer.
I started doing this and I came up with some prototypes about how this would work.
Anybody that works hard enough, I believe people can almost accomplish anything. But for some reason or another, they think because they're them, they don't have to work.
That's lunch. Yeah.
Ken, he went to San Diego with his brother, and then he come up here, and his brother's the one that picked up the condo, and I'm really happy that we got to meet him and spend some time with him. There's 2 different lifestyles. Is it any better? No, it's not. If you got a lot of money, you're always worried about this, you're always worried about cleaning this. You've got that crazy old image that to try to keep up with everybody else. The deal is some of the things are nice. I'm not saying they're not.
Really?
It's nice to sit in the hot tub and relax, but at the same time, I wouldn't trade it for sitting here in the cow pasture. What man does sometimes is we get little superficial pleasures to enhance us. We have an 8-hour day that's total schizophrenic, that other people are controlling you and stresses, and then you take 15 minutes to get in the hot tub or 30 minutes to relax from all them stresses.
Simple people have simple ways, or simple minds have simple ways. I'd rather do this than sit in a bar. Dingy, screwed up bitch is telling you you're... Scrounger, you scrounger! Got walnuts. I don't have to explain nothing to Kimball. He don't get upset at me when I'm racing, when I'm on my highs and my mind's racing. He don't get too upset. All you want, you nerd.
Well, we're right here to get it, so this is a good place.
It's all edible. It's all edible. Wash her up a little bit.
I'll tell you what, this would be a good place to pull a trailer and spring up for a week or a month.
Well, you can bring it straight
I
up.
could pull that right up here.
Straight up from right here.
The deal is to be a hermit and be out in the open.
Your
you get away from
level, your stress level would definitely decrease. Your life expectancy would grow because you're not taking in all the chemicals and all the bad shit because you can't really afford it. When a person's so sick, they don't care if they live or die, and then they got to fight the system
to get what they got.
And they're a bunch of lying people, and then you go to church and you see him sitting in church, and he's a lying damn Mormon.
I know people. The system has killed.
They almost did that to you.
And the deal is, there's a lot of people that's 10 times worse than I am. It's so quiet. You don't have noise pushed on you, too. You don't have city noises. You don't have cars going up and down the road. If everything's really, really quiet, what do you hear? Absolutely delicious. Wild food picked right out of a stream. And right here this morning, we got potatoes and bacon and watercress. Yeah, so we got our vegetable and milk to drink now. How can you beat that? In Europe, they're paying $50 a plate to get a watercress salad, and we're eating it out of the creeks out here. I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Well, I love it. That's just my style of living. You can't be anything but happy about have the sun shining on you, see the cows around, and enjoy nature. That's what I think is the great about Fizzle Creek.
I need a little money right now, but if I got $50,000 back, I'd have enough money to make another one.
Right.
So, if I can recover even 2/3 of the money I invested, I can make another movie. Because I got all my equipment.
Keep your eyes on the future.
Now and the future.
I understand that at one time somebody offered to front quite a bit of money. I can't remember if it was $1 million or $2 million to produce a movie, and he turned it down. I think I'm different. I would have took the money and got it produced that way and got the name recognition from that and then branched off. But this might be, in the long term of life, maybe he's learned things he wouldn't learn otherwise.
We got our nice little dump spot over here, our feces pit. We got to keep it halfway sanitary around here. This is the first time I've did this, but I'm gonna actually start a little fire over there and burn it. That's what we're doing here. We don't want the pile to get so high it rolls back down on your heels. It's a good way to get rid of it, looks like. Actually not too bad, I'm surprised. I honestly guessed it would smell a lot worse than it does right now. That's good. Of course, all we're burning is wet vegetables cemented together, burning the ham, only at the other end. So, and tomorrow there'll be a nice little pile of ashes right there, and we'll just kick the ashes around here and it'll fertilize the plants for next spring. The next 30 days I really need to put a big push to try to get the music rights, at least start negotiating with the record companies. I've found they've been fairly hard to deal with, whether you have to hound them to death or go to California or New York, I don't know. So, what it is I've got a feature film. It's not for theatrical yet. I'm just doing it now. The record companies, they're very hard to get a hold of, and to me that surprises me. Okay. There's one of them. We didn't get to talk to nobody. Let's try the second group. You have a hard time reaching them on a phone when you're a producer. That's pretty sad. I don't know if there was a problem with what sending the fax or not. I need to talk with somebody there. Thank you. My number is 435. I sent a fax to one November 7th. That's over 2 months. So it's leave a message. So I guess it's corporate America. Everybody can't get a hold of anybody else. Yeah, this is Kimball Johnson. I've been working the last couple of years on a little independent film, a children's film. The name of the song is Out of Touch by Pat Benatar. What the heck? If you'd like to make a call, do again. Something screwed up on the line. I called the number back and there's an answering service on it, so I don't know exactly what's going on. But I'll wait for a phone call and see if they'll give me a ring here in a little bit and then make discussions with them there. So that's what we got to do.
I don't know how to do this. It's diabetes. It scares me. It scares me because I know one day he's not going to be here.
I think personally I'd rather see him stay here with us and let us try to help him out instead of go to the homeless shelter. But, you know, hey, they're treating him damn good. They're giving him all of his medics and stuff that he needs, better than what any Social Security or anything's ever gave him.
And he won't. He refuses. We got food, we got money, we got a shower, you know. We got washer, dryer, wash your clothes. And
it's because he's comfortable out there where he's at. He ain't got all these people bothering him. He ain't got no worries out there.
How are you doing in general?
My hips are really starting to bother me, but that's every winter. Cold sets in, the arthritis.
Okay.
I got high blood pressure. It's probably not too good. I take as many medications as people that's had bad heart attacks. I use about twice as much insulin as a average diabetic, which tells me that diabetes is not as good as I'd like it. I take pills for high cholesterol, aspirin for blood clots, and Vioxx for my hips. See, some of them. When I get up in the morning, I give myself the insulin injections, and then I have my breakfast of pills. I take enough pills right now that it almost quenches my hunger for breakfast. That's probably not very good, but that's the way it is. And that's what you gotta have to stay alive. That's what you do. I sold the house too, but I made about $2,300, and then I spent all that paying up bills. I'll probably be filing for bankruptcy.
What hurt my feelings is when my dad told me that, he goes, it's pretty sad that I feel more welcomed and more wanted at the homeless shelter than I ever did living in Grantsville. That's in Salt Lake at a homeless shelter, because the way people treated him.
And action!
I know when my dad was doing a movie, all my friends' parents, they'd be like, oh, how's the movie going? Oh, you know, and they'd sit there and laugh and chuckle. Anywhere I went, people would be like, I heard your dad's gonna lose his house because of this and this and this. He's crazy, I'd never do that, you know, or they'd have little sneaker comments. And even before they did his movie, like, people used to give him a hard time about his half-bricked house. Oh, is your dad ever gonna finish that and this, you know, and they'd give him a hard time. And I don't know. I was like, yep, a brick a year.
If he can't sell his movie, he is in a bad situation where with the medical conditions, it might get beyond what even family can help. So far, his movie business it's cost him money, and he hasn't made money from it yet. And hopefully the movie will sell enough that he'll recoup what he's put in.
They don't want the doctor to say whether you can work or not. They want to compare it.
This isn't the only doctor that supports my claim for disability. Craig Weston, he's a very respected orthopedic surgeon in Salt Lake.
Do you have an attorney already?
Well, the deal is I'm so broke I can't go through court, so we got to start the process again.
Due to worn out hip sockets, dislocated right shoulder, high blood pressure, and calcium on the right knee. So it's saying the very same things. They're saying you're able to work. But if something new had come up, say you fell down and broke your hip, that would be something new. And we could then look at it. We don't want you to do that, by the way, but just to give you an example.
1 out of 6 people that fall down and break their hips with what I got die.
They die. There's something that goes with it.
Dies.
In order to get your food stamps, you don't have to do the job search and everything like that, okay?
Yeah, okay.
But as far as financial, we're going to have to forgo that one.
But the food stamps will help.
Food stamps will help.
That's the ones I have to stay alive. So.
Yeah, those are your air to breathe. Okay. Do you understand it? I feel bad, but I hope you understand.
Yeah, I understand it.
What's he doing about all his music now? I says, that's none of my business. I says, I don't care either what goes on the music part of the end of it. I want to see the final product, and I'd like to see you make some money. Okay, that's just like, okay, I got my money invested right here in this home. You got yours in the movie. Okay, when are you going to get something out of it?
Who knows when it's done?
You got to have money so you can do things, though, Kimball. That's the bottom line. You got to have something to live on.
Well, I understand that.
Sell the movie.
No, you can't sell it if it's not done.
He's got to get the music done. He's got to get it on the market. It's almost obsolete now. It's been 5 years. Nobody's going to watch it. The technology's all going DVD. Now you got to go pay to have it into DVD now.
Why? We already got it in DVD.
Okay. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, the movie's your priority, but when are you going to get something out of it? I go from project to project to project. My big thing is I like to finish my projects. Okay, you can't work forever on one project. He would have been a mayor. He would have finished that brick job. A lot of people watch that, and I've had more than one person say if he would have finished the brick program, he'd probably been mayor.
But I only missed it like 25 votes. All my views and the things I wanted to happen, most of them, they incorporated in. So basically, the new mayor come in, used a lot of my ideas, and I didn't have to put up with the BS.
He ran for mayor as a write-in, and he almost became mayor, and stepped on a lot of toes. He's been talk of the town for a lot of years, basically. Everyone criticizing him, saying, oh, Kimball's going to make a movie. He thinks he's going to be a movie star. All this stuff, and I always give him a positive mental attitude, because you can do anything.
I used to work with Kimball at Marblehead Line, and they'd read a book about how to write movies, and you're kind of skeptical sometimes, but I can remember a time he was putting in for a job, and all the people at Marblehead laughed at him and acted like, oh, he'd never get that job, and it was a building construction coordinator on this big incineration project, and he got it. So I'd seen him do things that others thought weren't possible for him to do.
It's been about 10 or 12 years ago now that Kimball ran a write-in campaign for mayor. He conducted the campaign primarily door to door, knocking on doors and talking to people and making sure they understood his philosophy of government. We have a few non-conformists that both live here in our city and that live outside. Some of them almost like hermits.
Well, I've had some people threaten me, and I've had people shoot at me, but that was quite a long time ago.
It's jamming on these hollow points, pain in the butt.
Well, I was sort of upset about the city and his home. As far as somebody's individual home and where they live, I don't see any reason that a city or a county or a government should get involved unless it like directly affects the health of somebody else, or really, you know, causes a real problem for somebody else. Not an imagined problem, a real problem.
Who knows? It's definitely not maneuvers. They have the airplane over there, the airport. They're not practicing flying, that's for sure. Probably snoops. Unless it's way back.
What are you doing, flying all the way out in the middle of
I'm
nowhere?
wasting money.
To try to see that somebody has, one or two too many vehicles.
My hell, if you can't see them, they're not an eyesore if nobody can see them. I am doing this, it's totally legal. What my neighbor's doing, he has the right to do it.
Yeah.
And leave his ass alone.
As long as they're not killing or stealing or robbing or...
Right.
Sure, he's lost everything he's got, but that don't mean he can't get it back. God's got a plan. It's kind of like when he drove Moses in the desert, he lost everything he had, and he turned out to be basically the leader of his people.
I met Kimball during his sophomore year. He had begun to be a leader even at that point in time. I remember him coming off the field at North St. Pete with his arm broken, severely broken, both bones in the arm. And he came off and he had this big smile on his face, and he said, "Coach, I think if you grab hold of my wrist and pull it, it'll go back in and I can play some more." I think if we had been able to climb on his back, he would have taken us to the promised land.
Well, it was a pretty big honor back in that day to get All-State football. He did a lot of things to earn that, and he richly deserved that. He also got All-State in wrestling. I don't know much about the scholarships, because he never talked about things like that.
When they come to a wrestling match here in Grantsville, they came to see Kimball. The whole town back then, I think, it seemed like it was the whole town. They'd fill the whole gym. He has a bad shoulder, and the kid knew that. Every once in a while, Kimball's shoulder just popped right out, and he'd have to grab it and pop it back in. And I remember him coming off the mat, and you don't hear him complain too much, but he says, "Man," he says, "my shoulder is killing me." He would just had a big old smile on his face from ear to ear because he'd won that state tournament. And it was quite a thing to see him wrestle. A lot of people looked at Kimball like he was a big dumb guy, but he's not. He's a very smart individual. He had that house. Everybody in town would harass him about it, He'd done things his own way.
If I were in a position to give Kimball advice at this point in time, I would say think back about the obstacles that you have overcome in the past. The last play doesn't count. It's the next one that counts.
We got first down and 20 yards to go.
There you go.
We grind them out.
Yeah, get that rubber ball feeling. You just bounce.
Yeah,
when you go down, you bounce back up.
If we had to go a Green Bay right to do it, we'll do it. Or a 17-runner pass, we do it. We try them all till we get what we got to get. Having a shoulder separation, wasn't able to accept the scholarship from the University of Utah. It pretty much bummed me out. It probably meant a lot more to me than what I realized. Oh shit, that's a cold man. wind used to be one of my least favorite of all the weather situations. You're used to being in a house and the wind actually down here shakes the trailer. First it's hard to sleep. Then after you get used to it, I guess it's just like a baby in a crib. It kind of rocks you to sleep after a while. So the wind's just another companion. I guess in a way when you're down by yourself, the wind will talk to you. Part of being free is to be able to be comfortable with yourself, to spend time with yourself. A lot of people aren't to that position where they can enjoy their own time. They always got to have somebody else there. And I've reached that. And after I got a divorce, I was spending a lot of time with the kids, working a full-time job, farming 180 acres, run about 110 head of cattle. I was building a home and ended up with custody of the kids. The wife would take them 3 months, I'd take them 3 months, and I'd go up the reservoir fishing. And when I first went up there, I couldn't stand to fish. I had to do more than that to kind of justify being there. So what I did is then I started to put the suntan oil on, and I'd suntan and I'd fish. And that still wasn't good enough. So I fished and I suntanned, plus I'd read a book. And that was okay then. I got to the point where I could fish, suntan, read a book, and justify being there. And it took almost a whole summer of going up there almost every day before I could just sit back and watch the bobber all day long and not feel guilty about being there. And that's when I first kind of started really learning how to enjoy my own company. Back in school, you learned to make the cover of magazines. You turned out to be the prettiest woman man has ever seen. You got your money and lots of fame. Are you still playing those schoolhouse games? Who knows? We'll give it to them. Let them play. Let them play the schoolhouse games, the movie-making games. I don't know if I can make up the lyrics to a rock song, but we'll do the candlelight tunes. That's the ones I know I can get Cody to play and do.
This is what we do, Kimball. Why do you think I had to move from Grantsville? I was closer to the music store. I could buy more shit. Really? So what'd you ever do with that old Les Paul?
Oh, hell, I sold it. We want all the rock and roll the first third of the movie replaced.
I've got so much music, Kimball, we could put shit in here till it'd be an album instead of a movie.
Michelle. No!
If it was me and this music came on, I'd make it shake the whole room.
That first third of the movie's got to capture those kids. And then when the sad parts come, those kids will adjust to them.
Wow, walk my way just one more time, babe. Wow, your steps are poems and land, babe.
I've been working on music for roughly a year, having several people work on composing music. I was getting a little discouraged because we weren't getting the whole package to pull it together. And the important thing, I think, is not giving up. You just keep going after the things you need. It's okay to fail. Just don't give up.
Put another log on the fire. Order me up some bacon and some beans. Do 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 do.
I got one tooth right here that's actually pretty loose. It's been hurting for about 2 weeks now. And tomorrow it's going to be gone. I'll be almost a gummer on the top. I got 2 left in the back, but the sad part, there isn't anything below them to chew on. I'm going to either have to mash my meals or do something. We'll see how it goes after the teeth are out, how good I can gum stuff.
It won't take much to get that one out.
But the positive thing, if your teeth are bad and they hurt, it's better for them to go. As long as they don't hurt, I'm pretty happy.
Last good drink, so hopefully I don't need a drink of water while my mouth's so numb I can't swallow water.
He needs to be sutured on the lower lip. Do you suture? That hurt?
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Mm-hmm. No, it hurt. That hurt.
Okay, do you want to put a bunch of gauze in there for me?
Then bite down. Already done. Everything's out.
Did like Dennis, but that one's way beyond like.
It's been through a gamut of life's experiences, good and bad, and I think it's been hard for him to raise his children on his own, and a lot of people have been critical of the kind of parent he's been.
Oh my heaven! Yeah, you got
Weeds.
a fire going.
Burning weeds.
I think the time that I wanted my father in my life the most, he wasn't there. From about 13 up till when I was out of high school. I was almost disgusted. I almost had a hatred for him, for the man.
We was very independent and at a young age because of, my dad always working, so there was a lot of things we had to do ourselves and we had to grow up fast, but that kind of bothered me. But now that I'm older, I know that's, he had to put food on the table, and so he was out working and doing the best he could.
Over there.
Unless you want it, Dad.
You got a runny nose.
My kids probably needed me more than I was available. But the older you get too, you realize that your parents were only human too. They're not the super dad or the super mom or this or that. They're people too.
You need it, Ben?
I'd probably use it.
Okay.
I wasn't real close with him, but I do notice the changes in him, where he used to lock himself in a room and never talk to anybody, or he'd run off with his buddy for 2 or 3 days at a time. He wouldn't want to talk to anybody. That wasn't him. Now he's full of life. He wants to talk to people. He wants to, see what they have to say, wants to hear their opinion, and that's good. I worry about him because of his diabetes. I worry that one day he's going to fall asleep and he won't wake up again. I'm prepared for him to die. And I know that he's a strong man too. I think he worries more about what would happen to us than with his own life.
That's the way it is right now. Move ahead and try to survive. That's the way life goes. There was one time I did have a dream, and it was back when I was sick a lot. I dreamed I'd died and went in the clouds, and my dad had come and picked me up on a horse, and he had an old saddle on it. Later I was relating the dream to a person I knew, and he says, describe the horse. And I described the horse in my dream, and he said, describe the saddle, and I did. The saddle was like a Spanish-style saddle with a big high horn on it and one stirrup on one side. And the guy says, well, that horse's name was Billy Duff. And he said, the saddle in your dream was one that I sold your dad, and it was destroyed before you were ever born. Why would I dream something that I'd never seen and somebody else know what it is? So after that, I was never afraid to die. The whole goal is just to show a few scenes here at the Old Folks Sociable. Just let people know that it's going to be out and hope the word spreads.
Is that the video you made?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Get the girls, psych the school. Get some young people too, that's good. I never banked on any young people being here, so. To just keep plugging, I think if you got the right direction, it'll eventually fall in place for you in the right time. It's just like the Racketeer probably was thinking I wasn't going to have the music done. And I contact Danny and he hands us 4 CDs, and less than 2 months later we cut it. "53 years old. Too old. Too old and beat up. I'm not got the mind of a 14-year-old, but I got the body of somebody 105, so I've never been a big celebrator of birthdays. It's just another day of doing the things you like. Every day's a birthday. Except when I have to deal with the government. I'm going to get the movie out, see if I can get that to where it's got to go. That's the plans for the year. Keep the garden watered, kept ate, ate up and fed. I'm sure that Racketeers is going to show. I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy it. I hope it helps people take a real good look at themselves and at society, and that's what the piece was designed for. If that helps one person, 2 people, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000, 1,000,000, it's basically irrelevant.
Where'd you get the extra money?
I got some girls working for me.
Girls?
Yeah, I got them selling their wares.
We're getting really close, Gabe.
Getting excited?
Oh, yeah. It's getting close. Getting close. I'm thinking about maybe making just a little thin border like this. Might be nice to maybe have some themes like this. Billy West laying in the bed with a poverty note written across the bottom of him, and Michelle and Mrs. A's class with a hat, fame.
Hi, Mrs. West. I'm Theodore Lopez from Billy's school. Is Billy home?
Sorry about the mess. Can I get you something?
No, ma'am. I just came to see how Billy's doing.
I think it looks good. We can adjust everything on there, so. Can you see anything you would change or move, or don't look balanced on that door?
This one looks a little different, but it might be because it looks like it's in a blur or something.
I think it's a good eye-grabbing color. People are going to pick it up to read it on the cover, and we want them to take the racketeers off the shelves to look at before any of the others.
Put the great big one in the window and this one on the front.
Okay.
We can't leave it there very long, but we can do that.
That's all right.
Well, fun. I'm glad that it's finally there.
Looks good.
I didn't know anything about it until I saw the poster outside of Williams. My mother-in-law rented it, and she said that my kids would really like it, so my 11-year-old really liked it a lot.
It was a really good movie. It'd make a great afternoon special. It's clean, it's nice for young children to watch. No dirty language, no sex.
It's a real thing. Go Kimball!
One of the things that I liked about Kimball was he made his goal to make a movie. And he said, I'm going to get rich and famous. He says, I'm going to buy my way out of Grantsville.
Hey, I want to rent Kimball's movie.
One of my children is actually in the movie.
I had a few small extra speaking parts. Hey, check out the babes. So I've been looking into going further, and I think I'm going to try and find other roles and keep trying it.
In spite of all the city pressure, he said, I'm going to get my movie made. I know there was a lot of us that went down and said, well, Kimball, you got the bricks there. How about if we come down and help you? He says, no, I got to get my movie made. And you know, if he makes $1 million on this one, he's got 5 others in the pipeline that he could make. And he could do a good job at it, too. And I hope he does. I hope he makes them.
Toho Toa, Nippon Herald, Ishku Fuji. I don't know if they're all in operation, but that's a place to start looking on the internet. Days worth of work on the internet to find out about all these different places. Almost 2/3 the way there. Now we got another third, marketing. But you can look at it, take them home, take a good look at it. Most people who've seen it figure it'll rate PG. I don't think the film industry's changed a lot from when I started. I'd read enough about it to have some kind of idea of the way it was. To me, it was just important to hammer out a film that would have the niche to move. the money wasn't worth the bullshit that I had to go through. And I guess I should be grateful, but I'm not. It's a shitty system. Okay, here's a tickle bug. I can see it coming. Tickle, tickle, tickle. I never want to have to go back to a position where a person has to eat weeds in a ditch to survive. I probably won't go to get nice things and splurging. I think I'm going to set up to live as absolutely as cheap as I can. Hey, Dad. Grandpa won. Fire's up, runs the power, little generator, it'll run all the power appliances that I want here. This summer I've just used it for powering the air conditioner, but the thing I like best is the solar panels that's up on top of the trailer there that we got installed. Got an inverter on it with the batteries. People uptown were telling me one day, boy, what are you doing for power? All the power's out. All the power's been out for 3 or 4 hours. And I said, not at my place. Wished I did. I wished I had Cadillacs to show you and limousines and dancing girls and casinos. But down here, we just don't have it. Down here, we got 4 blossom Topeka daisies. That's my flower garden today, so that made my day to see 4 wildflowers here around the yard. And the best thing, I didn't even plant them. Here it is, hot, dry, desolate. And what the hell have we got out of that hot, dry, and desolate? We got wildflowers. Well, there's a stranger. How you doing? Where's your box?
Right there.
Good, I missed that.
Said he got a lesson for you, but he has trouble reading them anymore.
Well, you just tell me what you're doing. That's good enough.
Well, you tell him a little bit what went on Sunday school today. Huh?
That was a pretty good deal.
It was on charity. If you don't have charity, you don't have nothing. And
did you bring any money?
What's that?
Do you think Kimball seems to be happy out here?
Oh yeah. Up to a point. I think he could be, if he was making them the right kind of people, he'd be more happy.
Even on pride, they says, is it being prideful if you beautify your yard because the prophet and them told you to do that? Say like you got your yard so much better than bragging about it to somebody else.
I never did believe in letting something go today that needed to be done today, put it off till tomorrow. Get it done and then you don't have to worry about it.
That's the way I used to think. Then when your health goes to pot, then you're kind of tougher to do. So.
Now come the truth, see.
My favorite book is not the Book of Mormon. It's the New Testament.
There's large references in the New Testament. If you follow them, they lead you right to the Book of Mormon. Would you want your like best in there?
I liked it all.
I'll take ball.
How would you like to have the faith of Job? Mm-hmm. He had faith, got boils, and family all died.
Poor old Job, he got no help from the Lord. And the devil was free to play with him. He lost all his land, cattle, sheep. All he had to do was deny God, So after the devil had done all he could, short of killing him, the Lord took him back and restored all he could to him 100-fold.
It's hard to take and have that kind of faith, ain't it?
I don't think I could.
Lose one thing and even things don't go right, I get kind of discouraged and frustrated. Don't you, Kimball?
To tell you the truth, I haven't.
The thing I'd like Jim come in and church will be to mine.
Just to be associated with him more too.
Yeah.
He just don't like to feel, people to pose on him. He figures they're posing on him. They're just trying to help him a lot. Same with putting the brick on that house for years and years, and he'd just put a little bit, and then later he said, well, let's help you and we can get it done. Oh, I'll get it, he says, And if I don't let somebody else help me, then I'm taking away their blessings. I've helped people out, not try to brag or anything, and turn around, I get 10 times fold help back.
But the next time you see me, I'll probably have teeth.
He'll be in trouble when he does that, won't he? All the women will be after him.
He's gonna have to put a double lock on that door.
The thing I'm nervous about, what if I bite some gal on the neck? I might bite her jugular in half.
Burgling for you. You gotta quit biting them on the neck.
I'm going to pull 9 teeth today, so that's going to be a lot, and it will not feel good. This time, if the same guy that pulled them last time, if I even see him, I'm running out the door. I think I'd pull him myself before I'd go back to that guy.
There's just like this odd, strange guy comes in and he brings me in this cassette and tells me that he's made this film, and I don't know, I just sort of thought, well, okay, there's another one. I stuck it on the little stack of stuff I had and didn't get to it until he came back and asked me if I'd looked at it again. Like, okay, well now, at least he's persistent. We used to have this sort of policy of showing everything that got done, but that was when not very many people were making feature things, but I'm getting a feature piece every 2 weeks, that's being locally produced by somebody. I know a number of people who have declared bankruptcy because they put themselves into debt with credit card debt and that to make a film.
There's a Johnson we missed.
I've also heard about people being approached and being told, well, look, if you get your parents to sign this note, mortgage their house, we'll get you, the $500,000 to make your film. And it's just like, people ask me about that stuff all the time, and I just go, no. I don't know who he's going to sell the film to. See, I look at the film and I go, I can't see a market. Family films are big right now, but it's a weird little family film. These kids are out there they're pimping kisses and stuff like that. You just go, all right, is this, when you worry about family films, you worry about that kind of stuff. Last time I saw him, he came in, he was telling me about he was marketing the thing, and he was renting it in a local rental place, and that they were doing really great business. He's proud of the fact that it's their best renting film.
I went and checked Williams's. At the one store, we're over $500 in rentals now, so that's pretty fun, even though it is hometown,
That's the reason, but
that's okay.
Nobody knows anything about it, and that's pretty good for nobody knowing anything about it. That's not going to last very long. And then where is it going to rent anywhere else? It's not big enough to pay for it. It's not big enough to buy him a house back again. He's not going to rent enough copies of that movie in Grantsville to buy himself a house, is he? I don't think so.
So how much does a transplant cost?
I called a friend of my mom's who's a doctor.
Well, I have seen worse. He's going for sort of wacky comedy and then pulls it into this, kind of disease of the week thing, and it's said did not make it easy for himself to succeed, because it just really took every possible angle that would make it difficult for someone who's been doing it for 20 years to make it work, let alone someone who's just pulling it together for the first time. You probably have someone here who may be a wonderful human being and may think that this is something that is going to ennoble the human race, but I'm trying not to grade on a curve. I'm watching this not well compared to other movies made by guys in their basement with their families for X $1,000 instead of the things I watch in a multiplex for X $1 million. It's not too bad, but I'm sitting there going, if I were writing a review of this, would I recommend to anyone that they actually see it? And I just could not. I couldn't, in good conscience, say to anyone, go out and see this thing. You're going to feel that it's time well spent, because it wouldn't be.
Here, I think it was his first time.
So you got $10, huh? Well, here's your percentage.
Little kids go out and come up with these grand ideas to make themselves a lot of money, and then of course get altruistic and go to save this poor kid that needs a liver transplant. You know, that's the good side of us all. But it's an odd piece, and he sort of fits there. He's not this corporate guy. I mean, even in the movie, he doesn't present himself as anything too slick. I mean, I'm not even sure what his character is in the movie. I mean, initially when he comes in, he's sort of the investigator for the candy company. And he goes to the town to talk to these kids to try to find out how they're selling this candy really well. He's like sort of like the CEO of this candy company later on. And I'm sort of baffled by all of that. And then he doesn't look dressed like a CEO or anything like that. There's just this uncomfortableness about the truth of the thing, or about the lack of truth of the thing. And it's not this, it is this pretty myth, but it's not. There's some other stuff in there that is sort of sad, because I don't know what he's going to do, and I don't know, you know, and then when I hear he sold his house to do this thing, you know, it's just like, yeah.
No one knew how long Billy had left, but the times I spent with him were special. Life never lasts forever. I would see Billy into adulthood and marriage. His memories are still with me.
Thanks for everything.
You're welcome, Billy.
It's a good first film. I think it's a pretty good first film for somebody. So I don't know. I just don't know who it's for. The stuff will be up on the web, I hope, by Monday. The poster's done.
That's basically all I did, was just expand out this thing just a little bit.
Put a title on for the film.
A little more green on the title.
Yeah, there are no problems there. Like I said, we'll give her a run, see where it goes. Sure. See if we can fill your place up with howling kids.
It's all right with me.
Adults, whatever. Oh, I was a lot more nervous a few days ago. And I'll be a lot more excited if everybody can find parking. I can't believe Crystal and Mike found it so easy, but I'm sure it's going to get harder from here on out. So.
I'm excited for my dad. It's nice to see his dreams come true.
I'm happy for him. I'm real happy for him.
Yes. Enjoy. In a way, almost everybody here is a very special part of this movie. And I appreciate everybody for working on it. So I hope you enjoy the movie. A lot of the people spend their lives working for basically peanuts to give us all a good taste of life.
Grandpa.
And all of them And give you an idea how long ago we filmed, this is the little boy as a baby that was the picture of. So,
Got it.
in a way, we hope we can all give something back to each and every one of you. Thank you. Well, I still hurt. You either you do something and hurt or you do nothing and hurts. And sometimes you try to do a little bit.
You look like you lost some weight.
Well, it dissolved my muscles. Probably about 70% of all my muscle mass went in 30 days. And Lipitor, thing they talk about on the TV, the side effects, share your side effects, that's what I got. I got to be real careful where I walk, how I step, because hardly takes anything and down I go. So life's not all bad. Spend quite a bit of time with my grandkid.
The fewest means least, not that much. Done.
Okay, well, let's see what it says.
Now we're on number 4.
You can enjoy life, you can enjoy people. That's, you might have bad health, but there, you can always find something you can enjoy.
Now just the last
Okay,
two.
the last one, the green ones, the fewest amount. Well, I started going to Mexico for my health. It's probably the best thing I ever done. It's 75 degrees in the daytime from January through March. I don't have a car, so I get better exercise. Walk to the store, which is, a block and a half block away. I come home here in the spring, and then I feel good enough to do some of the little projects where normally I would never do. Well, I got a gal I see in Mexico. I go down there, somebody to run with, we go do a lot of things. We went to the movies twice in 1 week, and she was worried that I was going to go broke because I'd taken her to the movies twice in 1 week. So I'm learning to be more like a snowbird, going south when it gets cold. Plan on going higher elevation next summer with this trailer here. Get away from the hermit life. It's set up to go down the road.
So what's happened with your movie, Kimball?
The deal is, we've tried to make some contacts. We haven't got anything positive back from the big companies. A lot of little places we ran it, they have to actually pay cash, basically under the table, to avoid the companies blackballing it. And without getting somebody fairly huge to get behind you, you don't have a really good chance of making it. The average person running around, they want to know how much money you made. They don't want to know all the little good things that mean a lot. And I hear that all the time. Sometimes we look too hard on what we've accomplished instead of look at the journey. You might work on a project that totally fails, that doesn't sell one video, doesn't do anything, but you might pick up 4 or 5 friends that last a lifetime. That's what's worth it.